Hi. Let's learn about dependents, definition, types, and tax credits. A dependent is a person who relies on someone else for financial support. This can include children or other relatives. When a taxpayer has a dependent, they are entitled to claim a dependency exemption on their tax return, as long as the dependent meets the qualifying definition according to the IRS. This can also make the taxpayer eligible for certain tax credits. A dependent may be a qualifying child or another qualifying relative. To qualify for dependent status, 3 tests must be met for all dependents: the dependent taxpayer test, the joint return test, and the citizen or resident test. Married individuals filing jointly can both claim dependents and share tax benefits, but this is different for those filing separately. If the dependent status is determined by the IRC tests, then the taxpayer may be eligible for certain tax credits and deductions. Specific tests are used to determine if a dependent is a qualifying child, including the relationship test, age test, resident test, and support test. There are exceptions to the resident test under certain circumstances, such as temporary absence due to illness, education, or military service. If these tests for a qualifying child are not met, the taxpayer may see if the tests for a qualifying relative are met. Unlike a qualifying child, a qualifying relative can be any age and must meet different tests in order to qualify. Being a dependent or having a dependent can impact a taxpayer's tax return, tax credits, and deductions. If the IRC tests determine that an individual is a dependent, they may be eligible for certain tax credits and deductions on their own tax return. Some of these credits include the Earned Income Tax Credit, the Child Tax Credit, the Child and Dependent Care Credit, and education credits associated with the dependent. A dependent is someone who relies on another person for support, usually a child or other relative who is unable to take care of themselves. It can include a child, parent, sibling, or stepchild, but not a spouse. For tax purposes, dependents must meet certain qualifying tests: the dependent taxpayer test, the joint return test, and the citizen or resident test. Here are 5 key takeaways. 1. A dependent is a person who relies on someone else for financial support and can include children or other relatives. 2. If you claim one or more dependents on your tax return, you may be eligible for certain tax credits. 3. The amount of the child tax credit is $2,000 per qualifying child, and it is partially refundable. 4. Usually, any person who filed a joint return, as a married person, cannot be claimed as a dependent on anyone else's tax return. 5. To be claimed as a dependent, a person must be a U.S. citizen, U.S. resident alien, U.S. national, or a resident of Canada or Mexico. Hope this would help. Thanks for watching.